I was driving down a familiar road, just another ordinary morning. My schedule was planned: get to work, finish my tasks, and make the most out of the day. But then the car in front of me suddenly slammed on its brakes. I hit mine just in time, my heart pounding, eyes flicking to the clock. I was already 10 minutes late. My breathing grew shallow, and my grip on the steering wheel tightened. And then, as if the universe was testing me, another car abruptly cut me off without a turn signal. No hesitation, no apology, just pure indifference. At that moment, I felt a fire ignite in my chest. A part of me wanted to slam my horn, yell, do something, anything, to release the frustration boiling inside. My thoughts raced. How could he be so careless? Does he not see me? My whole body tensed, ready to react. Then I remembered. How many times had I been in this exact situation before? How many moments like this had dragged me into a spiral of anger? How many arguments had started because I let my emotions take control? How many words had I spoken in the heat of the moment only to regret them later? I had spent years allowing my emotions to dictate my actions, losing control, and letting anger make decisions for me. But what if I could change that? What if, instead of reacting on impulse, I could remain calm, composed, and completely in control? Today, we're going to talk about the most powerful weapon a man can possess: unshakable self-control. If you know someone who struggles with stress, frustration, or emotional control, share this with them. And tell me, have you ever let anger take over? What happened? Let's talk in the comments. Now let's begin. 1. Calmness is your secret weapon. Imagine two executives sitting across from each other, a high-stakes deal on the line. One of them loses his temper, his voice rising, his words sharp and demanding. He leans in aggressively, emotions spilling out like an open wound. The other, he stays composed. He listens, he waits, and when he finally speaks, his words carry weight. His calmness commands respect. Now tell me, who do you think wins that deal? Power doesn't belong to the one who yells the loudest. It belongs to the one who stays in control. Most men don't realize this. They think self-control means suppressing emotions and pretending they don't feel anger, frustration, or stress. But true control isn't about ignoring emotions. It's about mastering them, channeling them. The problem? Most men let the world dictate how they feel. A rude cashier, a slow driver, a delayed meeting. Suddenly, their entire day is ruined. They react without thinking. They lash out, they regret it later, and yet they repeat the cycle, again and again, as if they have no choice, but they do. One evening, my son knocked over a glass of juice, right onto my laptop. My first instinct? Anger, frustration, a rush of words I would have regretted. My mind screamed, "Do you even realize what you just did?" My heart pounded. I could feel the heat rising in my chest. But then I caught myself. I breathed, and I asked myself, what do I want my son to learn right now? That mistakes should be met with panic? That losing control is the answer? Or that we handle problems with patience, not rage? So instead of yelling, I looked him in the eye and said, "It's okay, let's clean it up together." That moment wasn't just about a spilled drink. It was about the lesson I was teaching him. And whether we realize it or not, we are always teaching. Every reaction, every word, every emotional outburst, it shapes not just our future, but the future of those around us. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, Epictetus was born a slave, and Seneca advised emperors. Different lives, same lesson. The man who controls himself controls everything. Epictetus once said, "It's not events that upset us, but our judgments about them." Your emotions aren't caused by what happens. They're caused by how you interpret what happens. The driver who cut you off didn't ruin your day. You did, by choosing anger. The client who rejected your proposal didn't shake your confidence. You did, by allowing their opinion to dictate your self-worth. The truth is, most people don't even realize how much power they've given away. They think they are reacting to the world, but in reality, they are letting the world control them. If you want to take back control, you have to train yourself. The first step? Pause. When something triggers you, stop, breathe, wait 10 seconds. That tiny space between the event and your reaction is where your power lives. Instead of reacting impulsively, use that moment to ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? If the answer is no, it's not worth losing your composure over. The next time someone tries to provoke you, don't engage, observe. Watch how predictable their anger is. Notice how much they are controlled by their emotions. And realize that you don't have to be. Seneca practiced negative visualization. He expected disruptions before they happened. Traffic jams, rude customers, unexpected failures. He prepared his mind in advance so that when they arrived, he wasn't shaken. You can do the same. Instead of hoping for a smooth day, expect the obstacles. Decide now how you will respond. The greatest generals didn't panic on the battlefield. The strongest leaders didn't crumble under pressure. The most respected men didn't let their emotions dictate their actions. They chose calm. They mastered their responses. And that is why they stood above the rest. At the end of the day, there are only two types of men: those who react and those who respond. One is controlled. The other is in control. Which one are you? Tell me, when was the last time you lost control? What was the outcome? Drop your experience in the comments. Let's learn from each other. Now let's move to the next step. How slowing down your reaction can give you the upper hand in any situation. 2. Slow down your reaction to win the game. It was a Monday morning. The air in the office felt heavier than usual. The quarterly report had just been released, and the numbers weren't good. I sat in the conference room, surrounded by colleagues, when my boss, known for his sharp, no-nonsense approach, locked eyes with me. Why did last quarter's numbers drop? Is your department underperforming? It wasn't just a question. It was a test, the kind that could determine whether I was seen as competent and composed or defensive and weak. I stopped. Instead of speaking, I took a slow, deliberate breath. I straightened my posture. I let the silence stretch for a few seconds. Then, in a calm voice, I said, "That's an important question. I want to give you the most accurate answer. Let me pull up the key data points so I can explain clearly." I saw it in his expression, a shift. My response had changed the entire energy in the room. If I had reacted impulsively, if I had stammered or gone on the defensive, I would have lost control of the moment. But because I paused, I took control. And that's the power of slowing down. Most people don't realize it, but a split second of hesitation can save careers, relationships, and even lives. Think about it. A guy bumps into you at a bar, spilling his drink. He turns aggressive, ready to escalate. If you react instantly, if you push back, if you let your ego take over, suddenly, you're in a fight. But if you stop, if you take a deep breath and assess the situation, you give yourself a chance to disarm the moment instead of making it worse. That pause is everything. It's the difference between an argument and a conversation, between making a reckless decision and a strategic one, between control and chaos. We live in a world that glorifies instant reactions, fast responses, quick decisions, knee-jerk emotions. But let me ask you this: when was the last time reacting fast actually helped you? The Stoics knew the truth. Speed is not always an advantage. Clarity is. And clarity only comes when you slow down. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire in chaos. Every day he faced decisions that affected millions. But instead of reacting, he wrote, he reflected, he reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. What does this mean for you? It means that every time you react emotionally, you're handing over your power. But every time you pause, you reclaim it. There's a reason warriors are trained never to strike first. A fighter who acts on impulse becomes predictable. And predictability is a weakness. The one who controls the timing of the fight, that's the one who wins. You can train yourself to do the same in life. Here's how. First, practice the 5-second rule. The next time something triggers you, a rude comment, a bad email, an insult, before reacting, pause, count to 5. Let the emotions settle. You'll notice something strange. Most of the time, the urge to lash out fades, and a better response emerges. Second, observe before engaging. In any argument, the person who speaks first usually loses. Why? Because they show their hand. Instead, wait, watch. Let the other person reveal their emotions. Then, respond on your own terms. Third, reframe the situation. Before getting angry, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if I don't react? Most of the time, the answer is nothing. The problem resolves itself, or at least becomes less significant. This doesn't mean you ignore disrespect or injustice. It means you choose your battles and how you fight them. You respond when it serves you, not when your emotions demand it. So let me ask you, How many times in the past year have you reacted too quickly and regretted it later? How many fights, arguments, or bad decisions could have been avoided if you had just taken a breath? Drop your experience in the comments. Let's talk about it, because mastering this one skill can change everything. 3. You can't control the world, but you can control your perception. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Think about that for a moment. It's not what happens to you that matters, it's how you interpret it. Your mindset determines whether life beats you down or makes you stronger. Your lover left. You can drown in self-pity, replaying every moment in your head, or you can take it as a lesson, focus on self-improvement, and become a better man. You lose your job. You can see it as a failure or as an opportunity to build something new. The choice is always yours. Now tell me, if you were stuck in an airport for 6 hours, what would you do? Complain? Get frustrated? Let anger ruin your day? Or would you use the time wisely, read a book, set a new goal, or start a conversation that could lead to a new opportunity? The situation is the same. The outcome depends on you. This is what the Stoics understood better than anyone else. The world is unpredictable, but your perception is within your control. Life isn't fair. It never will be. People will betray you. Plans will fall apart. Traffic will make you late. Flights will get delayed. Clients will reject you. None of this is up to you. But how do you respond? That is yours alone. Imagine two men facing the same problem. Both lose their jobs unexpectedly. The first man spirals into self-doubt. He blames the company, the economy, the world. He lets anger consume him. The second man, he pauses. He reassesses. He thinks, all right, this is where I am. What can I do next? He updates his resume, reaches out to contacts, and starts learning a new skill. A year later, who do you think is in a better position? The first man is still bitter, still stuck in his past. The second, he's moving forward, because he understood something powerful. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Marcus Aurelius ruled over Rome during plagues, wars, and betrayals. Yet despite the chaos, his writings never focused on how unfair life was. Instead, he reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your emotions don't come from the outside world, they come from how you process the world. Let's put this into perspective. A man insults you. You can get angry, lash out, and prove your dominance. Or you can pause and ask yourself, does his opinion change who I am? Do I really need to engage? Most of the time, the answer is no. A traffic jam makes you late for a meeting. You can let it ruin your day, or you can use the time to listen to an audiobook, brainstorm ideas, or practice patience. A business deal falls through. You can complain about bad luck, or you can learn from it and move forward. Every situation offers two paths, frustration and growth. One leads to stress, the other to wisdom. Which do you choose? The Stoics had a name for this practice, the dichotomy of control. It's simple. Separate the things you can control from the things you can't. Let go of what is outside your power. Focus only on what you can change. You can't control people, but you can control how you react to them. You can't control the economy, but you can control how you adapt. You can't control whether someone likes you, but you can control your self-respect. If you master this mindset, you become untouchable. No one can shake you, no situation can break you, because you are in control of yourself. Now let's put this into action. Next time something doesn't go your way, stop. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it is, act. If it isn't, let it go. Do this, and you'll start to see the world differently. 4. Silence is more powerful than arguments. Have you ever been in an argument where no matter what you said, the other person refused to listen? You raise your voice, they raise theirs. You make a point, they dismiss it. And before you know it, you're no longer discussing the issue, you're fighting to be heard. Now let me ask you this. What if, instead of arguing, you simply stopped speaking? Most people believe they win arguments by talking louder, proving their point, or dominating the conversation. But the truth? The one who speaks the least usually holds the most power. Silence is uncomfortable. It forces people to confront their own words. It shifts control from the person who is speaking to the one who is listening. And in that shift, power is transferred. Imagine this. You're at work. A colleague aggressively challenges your idea in front of the entire team. His tone is sharp, his words laced with criticism. Most people would react immediately, defend themselves, argue back, try to prove him wrong. But you pause, you look at him, and you say nothing. The silence stretches, the room waits, and suddenly he feels the weight of his own words. You didn't have to fight, you didn't have to prove anything. Your silence spoke louder than any argument ever could. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most powerful rulers, rarely raised his voice. Instead, he listened. He observed. He let others exhaust themselves in words while he conserved his strength for action. Because the more you react, the more control you give away. Think about a heated argument with a loved one. Words are flying, emotions are rising. One person says something cutting and the other fires back. But what if, instead of escalating, one person simply stops? That silence does something powerful. It disrupts the cycle. It forces the other person to sit with their own words, to hear them, to process them. Most people argue because they want a reaction. When you refuse to give it to them, you break their rhythm. Let's take another example. You're in a negotiation. The other party throws an offer on the table and then leans in, waiting for your response. The average person would jump in, counteroffer, justify, explain. But the skilled negotiator? He stays silent. Seconds pass. The silence grows heavy. The other party starts to feel uncomfortable. They second-guess themselves, and before long, they start talking again, often lowering their own offer just to fill the silence. Silence is not passive. It's not a weakness. It's a tactic, a weapon, a strategy. Now let's talk about how you can use it in your life. First, in conflict, pause before you respond. If someone attacks you verbally, don't rush to defend yourself. Instead, wait, observe, let them hear their own words before you speak. Second, in negotiations, let silence do the heavy lifting. After making a point or receiving an offer, don't rush to fill the space. Give the other person time to feel the weight of their own position. Third, in everyday conversations, speak less and listen more. The person who talks the least often holds the most influence. People trust those who listen. They respect those who choose their words carefully. And lastly, in moments of emotional intensity, use silence as a reset. When you feel anger rising, when frustration takes hold, step back into silence. Breathe. Let the storm pass before you choose your response. Because at the end of the day, arguments are won not by those who shout the loudest, but by those who know when to stay quiet. 5. Prepare for the worst, so nothing surprises you. Before every major speech, I run through the worst-case scenarios in my mind. The microphone fails. The audience stares in silence. My mind goes completely blank. I see it all happening before I even step on stage. Not because I expect it, but because I want to be ready if it does. So when a real challenge appears, the technical failure, a difficult question, an unexpected interruption, I don't panic. I adjust. This is the power of preparation. In business, the same principle applies. The strongest entrepreneurs aren't the ones who expect success. They're the ones who prepare for failure. They know that markets crash, deals fall through, and setbacks are inevitable. But instead of fearing them, they anticipate them. So when their business takes a hit, they don't break. They rebuild, faster, stronger, and smarter. A father teaches his son this same mindset. From an early age, he prepares him for the reality that life doesn't always go as planned. He lets him lose. He allows him to fail. He doesn't shield him from disappointment, but instead shows him how to face it. And that boy grows into a man who meets adversity with resilience instead of despair. Most people live in denial. They assume things will always go smoothly, that success is guaranteed, and that bad things happen to other people. And when life proves them wrong, they crumble. They weren't prepared. The Stoics, however, lived differently. They expected hardship, not because they were pessimistic, but because they understood reality. Seneca called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. He believed that to truly be free, you had to mentally walk through your worst fears before they happened. Imagine failure, imagine loss, imagine struggle. Not to dwell in negativity, but to strip those fears of their power. Because what can truly hurt you if you've already prepared for it? A warrior doesn't enter battle assuming victory. He prepares for every possible loss, injury, betrayal, even death. A sailor doesn't set sail assuming calm waters. He prepares for storms, and the strongest men don't wake up expecting the world to be fair. They prepare for challenges. This is why you must train yourself, mentally, emotionally, and physically, for whatever comes. You hope your relationship lasts forever. But what if it doesn't? You work hard at your job, but what if you lose it tomorrow? You take care of your health, but what if an accident changes everything? If these thoughts make you uncomfortable, good. That means they're exactly the ones you need to consider. The man who has already imagined the worst is the man who stays calm when it happens. You must condition your mind the same way you train your body. Here's how. Every day, take a moment to ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen today? If it happens, how will I respond? What's my plan? Then rehearse it. See yourself handling it with strength, composure, and clarity. When you do this, nothing can truly shake you because you've already faced it in your mind. People who avoid thinking about failure do so because it scares them. But those who prepare for it become unstoppable. You have two choices. You can hope that life will go your way, or you can prepare for when it doesn't. The strongest men always choose the second option. 6. Emotional control is the key to strong relationships. A single moment of lost control can destroy years of trust. Think about the last argument you had with someone close to you. The heat of the moment, the raised voices, the words spoken that can never be taken back. And then the regret, the realization that if you had just paused, if you had just controlled your reaction, the outcome would have been entirely different. This is why emotional control is not just a skill, it's the foundation of every strong relationship you will ever have. Most people don't think about their emotions, they just react. They let frustration, anger, and stress dictate their words. They lash out, they defend, they escalate. But relationships, whether with a spouse, a child, a friend, or a colleague, don't thrive on raw emotion. They thrive on emotional maturity. Imagine this. You've had a long, exhausting day. You walk through the door hoping for peace, but instead, your wife is upset. She snaps at you over something small, something you don't even think is worth arguing about. How do you respond? Most men react. They snap back. They defend themselves. Why are you taking this out on me? They let their ego take over, and within seconds, a minor frustration turns into a full-blown fight. But the man who understands emotional control pauses. He listens instead of reacting. He recognizes that her anger isn't about him, it's about her day. So instead of matching her frustration, he stays calm. He lowers his voice, he asks, "What's wrong?" And suddenly the energy in the room shifts. The argument never happens. Instead of being an adversary, he becomes an anchor. That's the power of self-control. Now think about parenting. Your child spills juice all over the table. You're tired and overwhelmed, and your first instinct is to yell. But then you stop. You realize, what is the lesson I want my child to learn? That mistakes should be met with panic, or that mistakes are a chance to grow. So instead of shouting, you calmly say, "Accidents happen. Let's clean it up together." And just like that, your child learns responsibility without fear. Your emotions are contagious. If you meet anger with anger, it spreads. If you meet frustration with frustration, it escalates. But if you meet chaos with calmness, you create stability. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca, one of Rome's greatest philosophers, warned against giving power to emotions. He wrote, "A raging mind can never produce wise decisions. When we let emotions dictate our actions, we make choices we later regret." This is why Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor, trained himself daily to stay composed. He knew that his reaction set the tone for his people. If he ruled with emotion, Rome would fall into chaos. The same is true in your relationships. Your emotional control is what determines whether your connections strengthen or break apart. So how do you develop this skill? First, practice the pause. Before reacting in anger, take a breath. Give yourself 3 seconds before you speak. In those 3 seconds, decide whether your words will make the situation better or worse. Second, remove yourself from the moment. Ask yourself, if I were watching this from the outside, what would I think? This distance will help you respond logically rather than emotionally. Third, train your mind daily. In the same way you exercise your body, you must exercise your self-control. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when a coworker frustrates you, when something doesn't go your way, see these moments as practice. The greatest men in history weren't the ones who controlled others. They were the ones who controlled themselves. Emotional control is not just about keeping the peace. It's about being the rock in a storm. It's about creating an environment where people trust you, respect you, and feel safe around you. Because at the end of the day, relationships don't break because of problems. They break because of how we respond to problems. 7. Focus on the one thing you can control: yourself. The world will not bend to your expectations. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. Circumstances will change without warning. But the moment you stop focusing on external chaos and start mastering yourself, everything changes. Too many men waste their energy trying to control things beyond their reach. They complain about the economy, about politics, about other people's decisions. They get frustrated when life doesn't go their way. But tell me, when has complaining ever changed anything? It doesn't. Action does. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a raging storm. The wind howls, the rain pours, and you have two choices. You can scream at the sky, shake your fist, and curse the weather. Or you can tighten your coat, plant your feet, and move forward. The storm doesn't care about your frustration. But your response? That determines everything. A man gets fired from his job. He spends months blaming his boss, the system, and bad luck. Another man loses the same job, but instead of dwelling on it, he adapts. He learns new skills, reaches out to his network, and finds a better opportunity. Same event, different response, different life. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus, a man born into slavery, had every reason to be bitter, to blame the world for his suffering. Instead, he focused on the only thing he could control: his mind. He became one of the greatest philosophers of all time, proving that circumstances mean nothing compared to mindset. The same principle applies to your relationships. You cannot control how someone else treats you, but you can control how you respond. If a friend betrays you, you can drown in resentment, or you can walk away and protect your peace. If your partner is in a bad mood, you can absorb their negativity, or you can remain steady, refuse to escalate, and maintain your composure. And this extends even further to your physical health, your habits, your discipline. You can't control genetics, but you can control whether you train your body or neglect it. You can't control how the world rewards effort, but you can control whether you put in the work. You can't control when opportunities arise, but you can control whether you're prepared when they do. This is the Stoic mindset, the unshakable belief that power lies within, not outside. So how do you implement this in your life? First, eliminate the noise. Stop wasting energy on things you can't influence. The next time you catch yourself complaining, ask, is this within my control? If not, let it go. Second, take full responsibility. No excuses, no blaming. Own every action, every decision, every outcome. Weak men find fault in others. Strong men hold themselves accountable. Third, train your mind like a warrior. Every day presents tests, frustrations, setbacks, challenges. Instead of reacting emotionally, treat them as opportunities to strengthen your discipline. And finally, be the man others can count on. When chaos erupts, be the one who stays calm. When times are hard, be the one who moves forward. Because in the end, you control nothing except yourself. And that is all you need. 8. Be the calmest man in the room. The plane shakes, oxygen masks drop, passengers scream, flight attendants scramble. The entire cabin is in chaos. But the pilot? He stays calm, his voice is steady, his hands move with precision. He follows protocol, assesses the situation, and does what needs to be done. And because of him, the plane lands safely. His calmness saved lives. This is what most people never understand. In any crisis, the one who stays calm takes control. You've seen this play out in real life. When a business deal falls apart, it's the composed negotiator who finds the solution. When a fight breaks out, it's the level-headed man who diffuses the tension. When a family is in turmoil, it's the steady father who holds everything together. In every situation, the calmest man wins. Most people panic. They react. They let their emotions dictate their actions. And when things go wrong, they break under pressure. But the man who remains calm, he controls the situation because he controls himself. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire under constant threat. Wars, betrayals, plagues, yet his writings show a mind unshaken, a man who refused to let the chaos of the world disturb his inner peace. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment about it. It's not the crisis that causes fear, it's your perception of the crisis." And this is why the ability to stay calm is the most powerful skill you can develop. Imagine walking into a meeting where everyone is on edge, the numbers are bad, people are whispering, tensions are high, and then you enter. Not rushed, not flustered. Your presence alone changes the energy in the room, because calmness is contagious. The same applies in relationships. A heated argument is spiraling out of control. Voices are raised, but instead of matching the intensity, you lower yours. You listen instead of reacting. And just like that, the entire dynamic shifts. This is real power. But how do you develop it? First, train yourself to slow down. When stress hits, resist the instinct to react immediately. Breathe. Give yourself space to think. A moment of hesitation can prevent a lifetime of regret. Second, detach from the chaos. Imagine yourself as an observer, watching events unfold from a distance. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Most of the time the answer is no. Third, condition your mind daily. Read philosophy. Challenge yourself physically. Put yourself in controlled discomfort so that when real discomfort comes, you're already prepared. And finally, decide who you want to be. Every man faces moments that test his composure. The question is, will you be the one who crumbles or the one who stands firm? Because in the end, when the world is on fire, people don't look for the loudest voice. They look for the one who is unshaken. Life will test you. You will face moments of frustration, betrayal, and uncertainty. People will push your limits. Circumstances will spiral beyond your control. And in those moments, you have a choice: to react like everyone else or to stand firm. The strongest men are not the ones who dominate others. They are the ones who master themselves. The men who remain calm when tempers flare. The men who control their emotions instead of being controlled by them. The men who refuse to be victims of circumstance. This is the foundation of Stoic self-control. Every day presents opportunities to train your mind. The driver who cuts you off, the unexpected setback, the difficult conversation. Each moment is a chance to practice, to pause, to breathe. Remind yourself you control your response, and that is enough. Because when you become the calmest man in the room, you become the one people trust, respect, and follow. Now, take this lesson and apply it. Start today. And tell me, when was the last time you stayed calm when you could have lost control? Share your story in the comments. Let's learn from each other.